Did you know that Pablo Escobar's nephew found $18 million in one mansion? The leader of the Medellin cartel, or that the Chinese vase that had been classified as a replica ended up being real and was sold for $85.9 million. In this video, you will get to know top 10 people who found fortunes in unusual places and how these individuals had the pleasure of their good luck will shine on them and turn them into millionaires overnight. Let's dig into the video to see what's this all about, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see much more amazing videos. Fortune was found in Pablo's house. As a leader of the largest criminal empire in history, Pablo Escobar came to accumulate a fortune of $30 billion, which adjusted for current inflation is equivalent to $64 billion. But since he was the kind of person who could not keep money in the banks, instead, he buried the card of one of their multiple properties or hid it in the walls of their houses. Many years after the death of Pablo Escobar, his nephew Nicolas claimed to have found $18 million in one of his mansions. But some of the bills were in poor condition, or their serials had already gone out of circulation but were not for legal use. Another of the properties in Miami has also been involved in rumors of secret fortunes, since its next owner claims to have found a safe full of bills but refused to explain what the exact amount was. China vase. Over 40 years ago, a British couple took a china buck to a pawn shop to find out if it had any value, but were told it was nothing more than a replica. Therefore, they left it forgotten in one. And a long time later, when the couple had already passed away, their nephews were cleaning the house when they found the car that seemed to have some value. So they took it to the art club in London, where an expert told them that it was an authentic vase made specifically for the Xilong Emperor during the 18th century, and estimated that it could sell for more than $1 million. The biggest surprise came when the auction was declared and the bidding war began by the growing number of Chinese millionaires who sought to rescue the art of their country by having that object sold for $85.9 million and turning this family into a millionaire overnight. Ferrari 330 GT. The man who had just bought a house in Wyoming, he was not so pleasantly surprised when it was time to move out. He observed that the garage was full of all kind of useless junk, but a closer look revealed that in the middle of the mess was a car, covered in the layer of dust, so thick that it was impossible to identify what brand and model was it. After spending most of the day cleaning the car, he saw before his eyes that he did not have an ordinary car like a Toyota or a Hyundai, but a loud 1966 Ferrari 330 GT that, despite having been parked in the garage for decades, it showed no signs of rust or any other deterioration after the thorough cleaning and testing. It had powerful 300 horsepower B2 engine. The car was sold for over $1 million to make its lucky owner the #1 millionaire man. Never before seen. Songs by Michael Jackson. The king of pop may have passed away more than a decade ago, but he is still one of the best-selling artists, earning $48 million in 2020. But the most unusual thing happened in 2016 when the father of the star stopped paying rent on the warehouse where he kept between 250 to 300 unreleased Michael Jackson songs. Traders take possession of this catalog of unpublished songs by the Thriller performer for just $1,100. To date, almost 300 songs have been quantified to find out their true value by judging the Michael Jackson catalog that sold for $750 million. His songs that have never come to light could be worth a fortune of hundreds of millions. A man living in Paris was not very happy when he was told that a distant relative from Normandy, hundreds of kilometers away, he had left his house as an inheritance more than anything, because he thought it was an old house in disrepair, worthless. Several weeks later, when he visited the house for the first time and began to inspect the property, he found a treasure he never thought he had in his hand, since he came across 5,000 surely small pieces 2 gold bars of 12 kilos, and another 37 bars of 1 kilo each. Treasure ended up being auctioned for $3.7 million, but French laws imposed an inheritance tax of 45%, and he had to pay 3 years of back taxes. Therefore, his fortune was reduced to just over $1 million, which is not that bad anyway, since he got it without doing practically nothing. Gold pendant. Taking a 3-year-old by exploring his surroundings with a metal detector sounds like the perfect idea to spend some time digging up worthless coins and rusty cans. But what Jason Jettei never thought that his son James would find a gold pendant of the century. While exploring Seth Farm in England, they found the pendant with the image of Virgin Mary buried some 20 centimeters below the surface, and is believed to be one of the 4 pendants made with the same image in the 16th century during the reign of Henry. And the best part was that the pendant sold for $4 million, of which a significant sum was given to the owner of the farm where a find was made, and is now on display as part of the British Museum. Medieval art gallery lottery ticket in the trash. Edward John is a man who regularly rummaged through the trash of a store trying to find a winning lottery ticket, and after years of trying, his lucky moment came when he found a winning holder game ticket with $1 million at the game. He claimed to have bought all the tickets for this game in that same store located in Massachusetts, but had thrown the ticket in the trash by mistake. However, the lottery commission refused to give him the prize if he did not show the winning ticket. The pressure of the fight against the lottery caused him a heart attack, and he ended up dying shortly after. But his children continued with the legal battle until they reached an agreement with Edward St. John, who, after having collected his $1 million, granted them $140,000 prize. Declaration of Independence. 14 years ago, Michael Schwartz was visiting a thrift store in Nashville, Tennessee, when he bought a chandelier, a set of salt and pepper shakers, and a piece of yellowed paper containing the text of the Declaration of Independence, thinking it was a modern and worthless reprint. He paid $2.48 to went home, where several days later he was examining the document and noticed that the paper looked much older. So after doing some research on the internet, he found out that 200 original copies of the Declaration of Independence, 35 were known to exist. After a year of seeking professional help to authenticate the document, he received the good news that it was an original Declaration of Independence and auctioned it off to win $477,650. Well, not bad for a piece of paper for which you paid less than $3. Photographs. The reality is that photographs are not usually as expensive as paintings, but if they are images taken by a famous photographer, they can be worth hundreds of thousands of, or perhaps millions of dollars. As happened to a man from Pasadena, California, who in 2000 bought a box of negatives by a photographer, Ansel Adams, at a garage sale. The works in question are a part of missing link in the race of Adams during the 1920s. Since it is believed that no one had ever seen them, and after being analyzed by photography experts, their value rose from $45 to $200 million. If one takes into account that a single engraving by Ansel Adams titled "Clearing Winter Storm, Yosemite National Park" sold for $722,500. Don't expect anything strange from those negatives that can sell for several million. Uncle Sam Diamond. Weasley Olive Young was a worker at a mining company in Arkansas, who in 1924 found a gigantic gem of 40 points, 23 carats, and to this day remains the largest diamond ever found. Sounds lovers called Uncle Sam after Weasley's nickname. Olive Young was sold for $150,000, for which the miner got half, and if adjusted to 2021 inflation, his profit would be well over $1 million. Instead of the mine, now part of the Crater of Diamonds State Park, where other titanic diamonds have also been found, such as a 34 points, 25 Murfreesboro Star Carrots. And the best of all, the regulations of the park open to the public explain that if you find a diamond, you keep it no matter how valuable it is.